is declared passed. Clerk will read next bill.
House Bill 1075, Maryland Department of Emergency Management, Office of Domestic Terrorism. Response.
Is on third reading and final passage. Is there any debate? Gentleman from St. Mary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the floor leader please rise for a question on this bill?
Floor leader.
Yeah. Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm looking at this bill, and it looks like to be a good bill, but it's about 22 years behind. Our last major terrorist attack happened in this country in 2001. So what does the bill do?
Yeah, so this is about terrorist attacks as well as hate crimes. And so this bill really establishes the Office of Domestic Terrorism to respond and prepare to domestic terrorism and hate crimes in the state of Maryland.
What was the catalyst of this bill?
Well, there was actually a task force that was done that included the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, as well as a number of other agencies that actually looked, when you talk about the Coordination and Analysis Center, Maryland State Police, Office of the Public Defender, Anti-Defamation League. There were a number of organizations that were part of a task force that actually presented a report to us last year that asked us to create this office.
Well, who appoints or hires the people to this office?
The Maryland Department of Emergency Management. It will be a part of the Maryland Department of Emergency Management.
But who would actually do the hires? Is it appointment from the governor's office?
Nope, it would be the Maryland Department of Emergency Management.
Okay, thank you.
Depends will be a part of their organization.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering the question. A few comments, Madam Speaker.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when this bill popped up, I was just happy that we found an organization of a police department we wanted to fund. You know, crime is on the rise, and I mean, this body has something to do with that, right? You look at bills like justice reinvestment, juvenile justice reform, no cash bail bond, police reform. It's all made our citizens significantly less safe. And when I see this bill coming up here, I mean, it probably was a good idea about 22 years ago. Right now, I just feel that it's ripe for abuse. And you look at it, this isn't really set up a law enforcement. If you read the bill, it deals with teaching and communicating with higher ed and reporting back to the General Assembly. And what I'm really afraid of is this is going to end up turning into another political witch hunt. About 10 years ago, we saw the political witch hunts first come about when you had President Barack Obama weaponize the IRS against Republicans. It was only about 5 years ago that the Democratic caucus here in Annapolis had this guy, Congressman Adam Schiff, kind of an unscrupulous congressman that perpetrated the lies of Russian collusion for 2 years now and lied to the nation. It was only about a year ago that we had, or less than a year ago, President Joe Biden got up there on a national televised stage, lit up City Hall up there or Freedom Hall up there in Pennsylvania, lit it up bright red and said, you know what? Republicans compared them to Nazis, and then turned around and said, well, you know, anyone that believes in this American First agenda, which is about half the voting population by the last election in 2020, well, they're domestic terrorists. They're a threat to freedom. And look, I guess one of the most scariest thing is we've been spending the last 2 or 3 weeks talking about bills dealing with parenting and taking rights away from parenting. It was only like a year ago that the Attorney General of the nation came out because of the teachers union, Merrick Garland, and compared people that were going to protesting at school board meetings, compared them to domestic terrorists. So for all those reasons, just for the ripe chance of being misused, I'm going red on this bill, and I urge other people to do the same. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
House Bill 1075 is on third reading and final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Madam Speaker.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Does anyone care to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call.
Madam Speaker,
To explain your vote,
yes.
it's gone. Clerk will take the call. Did he? Clerk will read the next bill.
I'm told my vote